Capital Dance, Charlie Powell here. I'm so excited to be joined in the studio by the one and only DJ Paulette as we celebrate Pride all month long. Welcome, Paulette. How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm fabulous.
Good. That's what we like to hear. Great, great shirt. I love it.
Yes,
I love it.
It's all about the Pride look.
Absolutely. I should have made more of an effort, to be honest.
No,
I don't know what I was thinking.
No, you're here.
Now, we asked you to pick 10 tracks, which we're going to get into over the next kind of 4 hours or so. How difficult was it to pick these tunes? Because I personally hate that question. I feel bad for asking it because there's too many great tunes out there.
That was, it's the question every DJ squirms over, because it's, if I pick that, then what about that? And if I do that, I'm doing this artist down because I know I've played them all the way through my career, but that track just didn't make the cut today. And you know that you're going to pick a 10 that's right and gold for today, but tomorrow that it might be completely different, because it really depends on your mood as well.
Completely.
But when you're saying it's something to do with my life and it has got to have that kind of deep resonance, then the 10 is pretty solid.
Paulette, your first track is by a diva.
Yes.
It's called Musical Freedom. Amazing house classic. Why have you chosen this as your first pick today?
Now, there's lots of reasons. First of all, when I was growing up, there was the influence of Grace Jones. And that was like funky, it was cool, but then came house. And a diva very much has that cool, iconic cool that Grace Jones has got, but she was making house music, 4 to the floor, with a producer called Paul Johnson. So it's all about the Chicago. And at the time when I discovered a diva, so it's late 80s, beginning of the 90s, I was just really getting into clubbing and house music. I was dancing on a podium in a club. And I was also getting divorced. So,
oh no!
So, Musical Freedom kind of resonated on so many levels, because lyrically, it's a song about liberation. It's a song about positivity. It's a song about peace, love, unity, and respect. It's a song about, come as you are, whoever you are. It's safe to be who you are. It's cool to be who you are. And just the force of that voice is incredible. And the whole of that album, that Adiva album, is hit after hit after hit, because it's got Respect on it, it's got In and Out of My Life on it, it's got like pure bangers. So, but I picked this track because it's just lyrically, it just is there.
Really
Heart,
resonates.
soul resonates. And, when you hear the vocal, you'll understand.
Yeah, it's an amazing tune, like proper house as well.
It tears it up. Her voice is just so raw and powerful. And then there's the look as well, the flat top, the unitard, the leather jacket. She was just everything all about the face.
Yeah.
And, in terms of gay pride, that's what we want. That's what we look up to. And that's who I love.
Amazing, amazing.
Now then.
Paulette, your third pick is Salida, Be Yourself, produced by Danny Tenaglia.
Danny Tenaglia.
What's the story behind this one? Why do you love this track so much?
Well, Danny Tenaglia is one of the OGs in terms of house music. House, disco, you name it. Danny Tenaglia has a very deep history in music, full stop. Even Depeche Mode, Violator album, he's got credits on. So he's just like a key producer. And this, the album that this was taken from, this is Salida, Be Yourself. It was just at that point where Danny Tenaglia was about to become a superstar DJ. And kind of move out of the New York chunky queer circuit into the big wide world of international DJing and international DJ producer. And there was this track, Be Yourself, which again is a big vocal, a big-hearted, big soulful vocal, which is talking about the whole queer experience of feeling, you know, sometimes you will feel alone, but it's telling you not to feel alone because there are other people. Oh, I'm tearing up. Because there are other people like you.
Of course.
And not to be afraid, just to be yourself. And I am playing this song still in 2024 because the one thing about producers then, as opposed to now, is they really made songs to last.
Yeah.
And Danny Tenaglia was very, very creative. And if you listen, I mean, play it on a really great sound system because the production on this track is super clever. He does things with panning on effects and things that you can't even really do that well with software now. I mean, people would say, yeah, you can, but no, you can't.
Not like
that. And it's just a big room production with a huge voice, non-binary singer. Danny's is queer, one of the queer icons in terms of house music, house and techno music anyway. And the combination is just magic.
So, Paulette, we've heard your first 4 tunes today, all bangers, amazing choices. But we have to talk about Manchester, a city so influential to your career and your journey.
Big time.
First thing I want to ask you is, you were obviously the first or one of 2 female residents at the Hacienda, iconic
Absolutely
venue.
right.
What was it like?
It was amazing. I mean, the funny thing is, I always talk about this thing about legends and myths, that when you're living it, just like any of the big stars, you know, when they're living that life, they don't realise that it's going to be or have the kind of resonances that it's going to have like 10, 15 years down the line. They're just, you know, they're singing and they're performing and they're DJing and we're making a party and we know it's great. Because it was a fantastic party. It was hedonistic. It was bright. It was a first. You know, we brought the tribes together. We put the first gay party in the Hacienda. It had never had one for 9 years. We put the queer up north. We brought the queer up north, and at a time when queer wasn't really welcomed in city centres, in nightclubs, anywhere. You know, we'd taken it from being in basement bars and dark corners to being out and proud and loud and designer and eye-popping and great and once a month and regular and so much so that the day before the party, like, Manchester would be full of queers.
Love it.
Doing their shopping for their outfits. And it would just be, you know, all of a sudden there was this community building and a young queer community building, because up until that point as well, there wasn't really anything for young queer Northerners or young queer Mancunians. You know, there were queer parties, but there wasn't anything that kind of did it the way Flesh did it. And yeah, it was magical.
Why do you think Manchester has such a special queer dance scene? Because it still does. Amazing queer scene in general, actually, in Manchester. And yeah, what's it like up there now?
Because I think Manchester is open-hearted. I think just in general, Manchester people are decent, open, caring, nice people. You can really, and honestly, I prove it every day, talk to anybody you like. You can strike up a conversation with anybody you like in the street. That's not saying that homophobia doesn't exist, but there's more of an environment of you can just relax.
100%. I feel it even going up there to visit friends and stuff like that. It does feel very different to London in that sense.
The rhythm's just a bit slower, I think. It's less cutthroat.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's a bit less cutthroat. And I think it's a bit more supportive, and the community vibe is very strong there. And in terms of queer clubbing. I think, I think London queer community is mega, in terms of creativity and originality and uniqueness. There are parties here, whether it's body movements or Feel It, those, Clayton Wright and Saoirse, what they're doing is massive, so I'm not saying that London is any way different, but Manchester has a special...
It does.
It just has that kind of special connection with people. It's a people place. It really is a people place, I think.
You're coming through with some amazing stories. Your fifth pick is New York and Soul, featuring Jocelyn Brown.
Yeah.
It's All Right, I Feel It. Sensational pianos in this one.
Yeah.
Gives me shivers each and every time. Tell us the story about this one.
So here's a story. And now, I have always been a disco queen. I have always been a disco queen, and I've loved Jocelyn Brown since the dawn of time. I think she's an amazing vocalist. This story follows me to London, actually, so I'm not in Manchester anymore, Toto, and I am doing press. I'm responsible for press and publicity for Mercury Records dance act, so I am responsible for the press for Talking Loud Records and Manifesto and Fontana and a few other, Def Jam and a few other people.
Amazing.
And one of the projects that they had on Talking Loud, well, the ones I was responsible for were Ronnie Size and Represent, For Hero and New Eureka and Soul. So I did all the press on this album. And when I had that first meeting with Giles Peterson and Paul Martin in the office, and they were saying, oh, this is what we're working on, I opened the information for it, and I'm like, oh my God, there's Jocelyn Brown, there's India on it, there's Louis Vega, there's Kenny Dope, there's like Tito Puente, there's just like absolutely everybody. Cindy Mizell was on there, just like Roy Ayers. It's like, what is this project? It's just like, it's just like a magical treasure trove of black music, black Latino music talent. And there was this track, It's All Right, I Feel It. And it's another one of those songs that you really need to listen to the lyrics, because it really talks about how music can save and heal and help. And lyrically, it's beautiful. Jocelyn Brown is Jocelyn Brown. Her vocals are show-stopping all the way through. I mean, and you get to that break in the middle and it breaks it right down to her vocal and the keys. And then it builds it up with the drums. Now, the other story is I was dancing to that song, The Ministry of Sound, with a pair of mules on. I went for a jump at the end of the break, because I'm a dancer, right? So I went for a jump, because I'm showing off. So I went for a jump at the end of the break, and the mule got caught. It came off my foot, got caught under the arch of my foot, and sent me careering through 6 rows of people until I banged my head on the DJ booth.
No.
And that stopped me, and then I just stood up like, nothing to see, and carried on dancing.
Styled it out.
And totally styled it out. So that's the personal story for it. I cannot stop dancing to this tune. It is just, every time I hear it, it really does rearrange the molecules.
Yeah.
And
really
the lyrics are great. It's all right, I feel it. It's brilliant.
I wanted to know, have you got any kind of special memories of playing at Pride celebrations over the years, especially kind of going right back?
Wow, loads. Now, I didn't start playing at Pride straight away. I don't remember playing at Pride parties in the early 90s, but I remember playing at Pride sort of celebrations in London at Brockwell Park Festival. I think that's where they used to have a big sort of festival party. And then I played at Hyde Park one year, which was mental. I think that was about 99, 2000 when I played at Hyde Park. There's a couple of really big Pride memories for me, and they're all in Manchester.
Of course.
And one of them was when I went back to Manchester in 2015, and I started playing for lots of different outfits, but I played on a big dance stage. And as I was DJing, Josh Wink walked up to the stage and he's like, oh my God, Paulette, because that was, backstory. The first record I PR'd when I was at Mercury Records was Josh Wink's Higher State of Consciousness. So there's the connection.
Right, yeah.
So he was just in town, heard the music, stumbled into Gay Pride, stumbled into the dance tent and saw me on, and he's like, oh my God.
Oh my God.
It's you. And then the next person that walked up was Honey Dijon. So it's like, oh my God, this is just like,
what a crew.
Wow,
yeah,
crew,
amazing.
What a crew, rolling with the crew. So there's that. But then more than that was last year in Manchester, and it wasn't a DJ memory at all. It's not a DJ memory. I went to the vigil on the Monday after Pride. And I went with my friends from the Feel Good Club, Amy and Kira and all the team there. And a few friends of mine like Bo and whoever from like our queer community. And I cried my eyes out.
I'm not surprised, wow.
And it was just that moment of actually, you know, when we've got all the candles lit and we're remembering people that we've lost, and we're remembering why we're there, and we're remembering what Pride is really all about. And that, I think we do have to remember that it's not just about putting a rainbow on a sandwich.
Absolutely.
And a bottle of clear, you know, clean and clear. You know, it's nice, you know, we do need allies, but there is a real point to Pride. And I'm tearing up again. But, you know, it's realising that there is this community, that we don't leave anybody out.
No.
Nobody gets left behind.
And also we wouldn't be here and we wouldn't be able to celebrate Pride like we do now and have the rights that we do without
without the people that got there before us.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've been, you know, pretty much involved in the Pride movement since the 90s and in lots of different countries. So I've done Marche des Fiertés in Paris, and I played many, many times in the Place de la Bastille. So there were like 30,000 people. They were big parties, Solidays as well. I've played for them, which is like an equivalent to Terence Higgins Trust in France. In Montreal for Black and Blue, in Switzerland, you know, so I've played for, you know, queer parties pretty much all over the world. And I think it's really important to have that, you know, what people sometimes call queer Christmas. But we have to have, if we only have a day to remember, then we make sure that we remember the politics of it as well.
Of course.
And not just, you know, the party of it.
Exactly. Obviously, we've been talking about your whole journey, your amazing career. If you could think about a couple of highlights in your journey from then to now, like your favourite moments, the ones that spring straight to mind, what would they be?
Okay, first moment is Flesh first birthday party. I am in a pair of silver sequin knickers that I made myself, because in 1992 we didn't have Primark or anything, Zara or anything like that. So if you wanted anything with any sort of feathers or sparkles on it, you had to make it yourself.
Have you still got them?
Yeah. There's a story to these knickers anyway, because I'm actually going to give them to an exhibition. I'm not going to say where, but it'll end up in London in 2025 in an exhibition.
This is great.
My knickers. I just think it's such a buzz. I put my knickers in a museum exhibition.
Frame them, absolutely.
They are framed. They are actually framed. They're on the wall in my office. So I had these knickers on, and John Locke, who was a party promoter from Chester, his brother was a sculptor, and he had made me a metal bra. So I had a metal bra, silver sequin knickers, thigh-high silver leather boots, and a stick-on tattoo, which just is so cringe. Because I'm like queen of tattoos now, and I'm just like, I can't believe I actually stuck one on. But, you know, you did in 1992, because, you know. And I had a picture taken, which was the iconic picture of me, all in silver, which ended up in DJ magazine, and it's been pretty much everywhere. And it's still people, this picture keeps turning up on people's Instagram pages whenever they want to talk about DJ Paulette at Flesh or something. This one surfaces, and I do look pretty similar. I've not changed a lot. And because it was the first birthday of Flesh as well, that was just one of those moments. And also it was the moment where you're seeing me become DJ Paulette. So every time I look at that picture, I'm like, it's happening.
She's coming out. Here she comes.
I'm coming out.
Probably the most iconic pair of pants in dance music.
Yeah, they will be when I put them in a museum.
I'm going to be the first to come and view them. We are on to your next pick today. A banger, Mason versus Princess Superstar. Perfect. This is Exceeder, the Exceeder vote, because there's a few versions of this. Why is it on your list?
Come with me to 2004. I've moved to Paris from London. I'd had 10 really great years in London, and I decided, not on a whim necessarily, because I'd met someone and I'd been DJing in Paris and France for maybe 3 years under the Ministry of Sound International tours. And I just thought, this could be a good time to move. And I'd sold my flat. And I moved to Paris, and I was pestering all the time. Radio FJ, can I have a job? Can I have a job? Can I have a job? And in the April, they gave me a residency on the radio, which was great. But it's like no one was really hearing me play. But I also had a residency at the Red Light Club in Paris every week. And I'd started to build a kind of following. And then I was invited by a queer organisation called Solidays to play their party. And it was in May 2005. So I'd been in Paris probably, I moved in December. So December, January, February, March, April, 5 months. Had to count that on my fingers. So I'd been there not even really 5 months. And I was invited to play at this party, which I thought was just going to be a kind of civilised street party. Yeah. I couldn't have been more wrong.
Yeah,
I don't know why I do know why they invited me, because of the radio and and the club residency was really catching a fire. And I got to the site, and I was given a police escort to the start of the journey.
The treatment you deserve, Paulette.
Which I was just like, and not because I'd committed a crime either. So it's just like, okay, I'm in this car being driven on the wrong side of the road, weaving in and out of traffic in Paris, police escort to this party. What is it? And there's all these Arctics on the side of the road. So it wasn't just a street party, very polite little bunting thing. There were 30,000 people in the streets of Paris following these trucks. And I was playing with Etienne de Crazy and Bob Sinclair. We were the only 3 DJs for the day.
Wow.
It was a day party. So Etienne played first. I was just kind of sitting in the van like, I do not believe, like, me, black, female, English DJ on a truck playing with 2 of the biggest DJs in France right now. And I mean, Etienne de Crazy, French touch, whatever. And Bob Sinclair was...
Yeah.
But
too right, and so well deserved by this.
So I get on, and it's a beautiful day. It is when I play. It's a beautiful day, and I'm playing, and everyone's like, the people are just coming from Châtelet up along the Seine, and I can see the Samaritan building there that's changed now, but see the Samaritan, and we're just about to turn left onto the Pont Neuf, and I looked up and I couldn't actually see the streets for people. I was like, oh my God, like,
wow.
Where did all these people come from? And at that point, and it was CDs at the time, so at that point, I'd just been sent from Great Stuff Records this track by Mason. And I literally downloaded it before I left the house, thinking, oh, you know, I don't know whether it's going to be, you know, I don't know how it's going to work. But because it was different, it was really different for the time, you know, and it was more different to the tracks that I was playing, because at the time it didn't have the Princess Superstar vocal on it. It was just an instrumental.
Right.
But it was just a really powerful sort of electronic chugger.
Chugger, that's a good word for it.
Chugger, innit?
It's a chugger.
So I played it, and the crowd lost their minds. I made friends from people in that crowd that are my friends now in 2024. So this is 20 years later from that moment that I played Mason's Exceeder. And literally the road on the Pont Neuf was bouncing with people just going absolutely ape to Mason's Exceeder. And it really set the tone for me, because after that point, I just worked solidly. I toured France solidly for nearly 10 years. And every département, like north, south, east, west, I have done the whole thing. And I played all the time with Bob, David, Joachim Garraud, like all the like heavy hitters in France. I was suddenly up there as someone that could hold their own on the same stage with them, and it was madness. I just like 10 of the best years of my life.
Before we let you go, what does pride mean to you? Because everyone gives a different answer to this.
Yeah, pride really does mean pride in every sense of the word. I think, you know, even in terms of my personal journey, I know how hard it has been for me to reconcile the queer side of my life with the everything other side of my life, whether it's with family, friends, work colleagues, you know, whatever, the world itself, but more with myself. So it is that journey to being comfortable with who you are, wherever you are, but also being aware that, as you know, as smooth as things might seem even now, there has been a battle to get to this point where we are now, and we are still fighting that battle, because there are still groups within the queer community that aren't being heard, and that aren't being, you know, that aren't being treated as compassionately as they should be being treated, you know, whether it's black or whether it's trans, or, you know, and there's this real call for, you know, the community is the most important thing about it. Let's not get this twisted. So this is what pride means to me, is being aware of all of us being in it together.
Yeah.
And if we cut off one side of it, we might as well cut off ourselves. You know, it's just whatever doesn't happen for one group within, it will also not happen for us. And being aware of also the problems all around the world, and being aware of what we need to do to support those communities all around the world, because the community is global, it's not local. Like I say, it's not just about waving a rainbow flag and eating rainbow cotton candy and, you know, My Little Pony or Unicorn or whatever you want to be. That's fine. That's fine for the day. You know, everyone can party whichever way. But remember, what are we doing? Really, walk the walk, talk the talk.
Absolutely.
That's what pride means to me.
Paulette, your final pick, Idris, Le Trumpeter.
Yeah.
Ending on a huge new release. I think this is going to be hammered this summer season for sure.
Massive tune for me
because it didn't drop long ago, did it? So it was like midwinter, I feel. So it's still got its...
More recent than that,
really?
Actually. Yeah, it's only a couple of... if anything, it's about a month ago.
Oh, wow. Okay, so it's still...
So it's bubbling, bubbling. And I have been playing this everywhere. Idris has changed his name. Mononymous, just like me, and Madonna. Doesn't use the surname.
Only icon behaviour.
And only icon behaviour, yes. And it is a trumpet track. Now, normally run a mile from anything with a big sax solo or a trumpet solo on it. I'm just like, oh my God, this is just like a holiday camp. So I wouldn't normally play it. So this came in and I was like, oh, God.
Here we go.
And then I played it. I was like, this is magic. This is a hit.
Yeah.
This is just because what it does for me, and I hope it does it, well, I know it does it for everyone else because everywhere I've played it, it has had this effect. It lifts the floor. You know, when I have somebody like Louis Vega asking me what that record is.
You know it's a banger.
You know you've dropped a real good one. So Idris, Louis Vega loves your tune. I love your tune. It's a Latin house sounding trumpet opus, epic sort of adventure on a dance floor, which really brings the sun out if you play it in the open air. If you play it in a dark club, it just lifts the energy straight away.
DJ Paulette, thank you so much for joining me this Saturday afternoon. I've had the most amazing time. Your picks have been incredible. I think we've all very much enjoyed them. Have you enjoyed yourself?
I have had a whale of a time. I bet you didn't know that I did animal impressions or anything like that.
Oh, go on. And round us off with an animal impression, your best one.
Putting
you on the spot now.
Here we go. No, because I don't know whether to do the donkey, the chicken or the dog sniffing. Which one would sound the best?
What do we want?
What do you want? Which
Donkey.